Hello, my name is Jennifer Setzke. Welcome to the Llll Virtual Open House. I have the pleasure of teaching your son or daughter civics this year. Civics is a one-semester course taken at the sophomore level. It fulfills a state graduation requirement, and it also fulfills the state constitution requirement. I know when my own daughters were here at Llll, they took a constitution test in their U.S. history class. I also teach U.S. history, so I know that that was a part of our curriculum. This is actually a better way because we can expand on the ideas of the Constitution and apply it with some projects and some practical experience that gives them a broader sense of what it takes to be an effective citizen, and that's the goal of this class. What I thought I'd do tonight is tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about the class, show you ways in which the students access the class via Canvas, and to let you know that I'm available via email anytime you have any questions or concerns about your individual child or about the class in general. So what I'll do is what we do in the classroom and share my screen and start with a Google Slides presentation. So when your child logs onto class, I will usually have a slide that they can view while they are in the waiting room. The waiting room is where they are first, and I allow them then into the class. It's a way for me to take attendance for that particular class period. So I will usually have something on the screen that they can view while they're waiting there. So for us today, I have the screen that says welcome to open house. A little bit about myself. I have been at Llll for 20 years. It was a midlife career change for me. I worked in public relations and for the state tourism offices. Prior to this was probably one of the best decisions that I've made. I've enjoyed every bit of the 20 years that I've been here. It's been quite the journey, and I've learned more from the students I've had, probably more than I've been able to teach them, although I've enjoyed teaching them very much. I have a bachelor's from Llll, a master's from St. Xavier University. As I mentioned, I have 3 grown daughters who are all Llll graduates. I also have one 18-month-old grandson, and I did warn your children at the beginning of the year that they may be exposed to more than a couple pictures of him throughout the semester because I sort of can't control myself when it comes to sharing pictures of him. When it comes to the class, as I mentioned, there was a state mandate that was put in place that makes this a graduation requirement. The thought process behind that is that it's important for all Americans to be informed citizens, to understand about media literacy, to understand what the issues are, and to critically think about if you have an opinion about an issue, can you then support it with evidence? So we incorporate that critical thinking skill into this semester course as well. The research does show that an average American doesn't know enough about how government works, and so we hope that this becomes part of the solution to making that better, that exposing students at 15 will pique their interest and encourage them to become more involved and active citizens as they get older. Some of the topics that we'll explore in the 4 units of study that we have this semester, we start out with what does it mean to be an effective citizen? What can I do to make changes in my community? We do work on making participation and what you can do to bring about change in your community part of this class as well. What is news literacy? Why do I need to know how to judge the reliability of information? How do I know who I should vote for? Candidate platforms and campaigning. We look at being able to discern what you believe in as opposed to just kind of following someone because someone else tells you to follow that person. So really trying to have the students think about what it is they believe in and then how they will vote in the future based on that. And then of course the roles and responsibilities of the 3 branches of government. We do explain how the 3 branches work, what the roles are of those branches. We do this with some simulated activities. We will modify them this year for the Zoom class, but we do give students the basic understanding of how government works at both the federal and the state level. So here's an example of what your students see when they log into the Canvas page. I will have a slide with their goals and activities for the day. In the green, you'll see I can identify my place on the political spectrum using specific issues. That's something that we have been working on this week, looking at issues and then looking at the liberal and conservative viewpoint of those issues, ultimately leading up to students being able to see if they can identify themselves. Once they see what the two sides are when it comes to looking at how government should take care of an issue, where do they fall? And can they begin to identify where they might fall themselves on the political spectrum? On Canvas and Infinite Campus, you are probably familiar with this, having done this last year as well. Civics grades this year are attached to 4 skills, and I will actually go through the grading process in just a few moments, but I also have a grading sheet on my Canvas page that explains how that works. You will find that there are formative practice grades that are entered, but they don't count toward the final grade. These will be marked with an asterisk on Infinite Campus. And then summative grades are entered for projects, quizzes, papers, assessments that will count toward the final grade. And these are the grades that can be revised according to the requirements defined in the class syllabus. For this year, for the 4 units of study, we will have a formative, a practice grade entered, and a summative grade entered for each of the 4 skills. So we replicate those 4 skills in every unit, different activities, different content, but we're still measuring and looking for students to work on and improve their ability on these 4 skills. And again, I will go into that in more detail in just a moment with another document. To access Canvas, you know that there is a parent portal so that you can see what is on the Canvas page as well. And if you want to contact me, please don't ever hesitate to do so. I am currently teaching from my classroom at North Campus. We have all been assigned a room to teach from, and I teach classes at North Campus as well. I teach US history at North Campus, so I just stay in this room all day. When we are back in person, of course, I will commute and meet your students at South Campus, but I am accessible via email, jsetzke@lths.net. Anytime you have a question or concern about your individual child or about the class itself, I do consider it an honor to teach your children, and I thank you for that privilege. And so even though this year may be a little different than others, that philosophy of mine still stays the same. Let me move on to show you the grading page, because it is a little different this year with the skills. So let me just kind of go through that for you. So here is, and again, this is on my Canvas page, so you can see this. These are the 4 skills. Apply. Students will identify and apply constitutional principles, political ideas, and social issues within the appropriate context. Evaluate sources. They will evaluate sources of information for bias and reliability. This is what I meant when I mentioned news literacy before that, being able to look at a piece of reporting and being able to discern the bias and is it a reliable source. Claim evidence and analysis. This is something that is measured really at all levels. I do this at the junior level in my history classes as well. Learning how to have a claim and then support that claim with evidence, including a counterclaim. And then finally, students will engage in group discussion by asking questions, using various sources to form ideas, and by contributing insightful comments to extend the discussion. One of the things we're really trying to work on with the students at the sophomore level is to ask good questions. So much of education is asking questions and finding answers and taking in answers from different perspectives. So we're actually helping the students with some modeling this year in how to ask good questions, open-ended questions that will further a discussion. We will have a number of times when we will have small discussions with the students or even large discussions with the whole class. And so therefore, questioning and answering techniques, good listening skills are valuable not only in the classroom, but these are the skills that will help them become effective citizens later on in life. And that really is truly one of the goals of this class. I know that's a very brief overview. If we were in person, we would only have a 10-minute meeting as well. So we're trying to stick to the same time frame. Again, any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me. This is, of course, an unusual start to the year. We never expected that this is where we'd be, and we are all making the best of it to provide the best educational experience that we can for our students. I told my students, and I have to remind myself, that I think there are 2 words that we need to use for this year, and that's kindness and patience. We need to be patient with one another as we're navigating these uncharted waters of Zoom classes and online teaching. And we always should be kind, but even more so this year, approaching each other with a kindness, understanding that one day could be more difficult than the next when it comes to navigating technology. And so I am aware of that it's not easy for the students as well. And so I do talk about patience and kindness being really important elements of the whole educational experience this year. Again, thank you for sharing your students with me. It is a pleasure to be able to be with them, even if it's only online. And I am happy to share these couple of moments with you, and I hope you have a very pleasant evening.